Do you regret having made that choice?
Some days. No, I still believe in the mission. I have to confess that I've tried to leave. I mean, not that I tried to commit suicide, but I have been ill. It's been physically demanding being back here. It's been grueling. And there have been opportunities where I could have died, or I could have left the body. The body, I think, would have recuperated. And I was, once again, given a choice. Do you want to come home, or do you want to stay? And curious being that we all are, I said, oh, I want to see what's going to happen, you know. So here I am.
You seemed to hit an emotional wall when you started to explain the initial experience of confronting what you call Source. And I felt your hesitation. I saw your tears. Can you put more words to it in an effort to explain at a deeper level what that was like?
Oh, gosh. There are no human words for it. It was the most profound, touching, humbling, exalting, loving experience. It's equal parts awe and self-confidence, maybe.
Was it a visual experience at all?
No.
Was
no
it something
visual
you
at all.
heard?
No.
Was it what we'd call a heartfelt experience?
No.
A feeling of love?
Yes, that. But it was a feeling of merging into God, what I'd always thought of as God.
And yet you volunteered to return away from that.
You know, Ted, it wasn't like I said, well, I want to go back. It was more, see, your life is directed by focus when you're in the afterlife. Whatever you turn your attention and intention to, you experience. And I had turned my attention to people on earth and how unfair I felt it was for the truth to be withheld from them. And at some point along the way, I must have formed the intention to come back here, but it wasn't a conscious decision.
Well, you're very verbal, you're very bright, you're a lawyer, you're a writer. So this information that's, you mentioned being held from us, is something that you can help bridge the gap with. And you can bring people this information that they don't otherwise have access to. And you describe it in your book, and other times I've talked to you, as information that's been, to use the word downloaded, given you. Did that downloading occur in that period you were in this state, or since you returned from that state?
All while I was in the light. It all came to me then.
And I have the feeling that if you were to spread it out on a piece of, on a table, single space pages of information, it would go on forever. That there was more information that was downloaded to you than would make sense, it seems, to humans in the time allotted for you during that time when you were in that other state.
Yes. My understanding and what I've read from other near-death experiencers is that you get all of the knowledge in your mind all at once. You know, all you have to do to be consciously aware of it is turn your focus toward it. So it's the true sensation of omniscience.
So you've been talking about this and writing about this for all these years now.
Well, actually, I guess I started writing the first book in 1995.
All these years.
But then I just wrote down the physical things that happened to me because I wanted a doctor to tell me, you know, what had happened to me. They were telling me I was hallucinating, and I wrote, you know, a whole bunch of pages of it, just the chronology, because I wanted confirmation that I wasn't hallucinating. But then I didn't start getting the downloads of the rest of the memories until 2001. I was ill for a year and couldn't work, and I got to a point where I literally couldn't think. I mean, the voice in my head just stopped, and I kind of wondered for a while if I was crazy. But then what started coming was the memories. I began reliving my near-death experience, my afterlife experience, and remembering.
That's what I'm getting at. How are you so certain that it wasn't a case of having this near-death experience where there was information downloaded to you, but then since that door was open, there were more downloads since you've come back year after year since then? It sounds like you're saying this is all information that came in that compacted time that was downloaded to you, and you're now just still sifting through it all, making sense and writing it down.
Well, like we were just talking in class, I don't sift through it. When I've got a chapter coming for one of my books, I wake up usually like about 4:30, and all I know is there's a chapter and it's about X. Mm-hmm. And I wake up and I get up and I go to my laptop and I just start typing. But I have no idea what I'm going to type. Now, I will remember that I will have been back in my near-death experience before I woke up. Mm-hmm. Like I can specifically remember reliving the life review portion of it, and I have visual memories of that. And I woke up while I was there, and I went, oh, I got to get this on paper. But I don't process it at all. It's not a mental function. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not organizing it. I'm not thinking about what it means. I just sit down and type it out. And when I'm finished typing, I read and go, oh. And I recognize it. I recognize that I knew it at one time, but there's no way I could have come up with it.
A couple of questions before we get into some questions that I've extracted from much of what you've written about in your book, backwards, returning to our source for answers. And that is for anybody who might be seeing this for the first time, to flesh out some of your background. You were a lawyer, a partner in a firm, and since this experience, your life has changed in that area and in other areas?
Just about every area.
You no longer work for the same firm?
No, I was a partner in a 270-person law firm, and one of the life-changing things that happened for me during my afterlife experience was when I was learning the difference between human nature and or true spiritual nature. I saw what an animal I had been, and I mean that in the literal sense. I had dedicated my life to competitiveness, getting ahead, being a success, being the best lawyer that I could be, making a reputation for myself. I was after money because I was very insecure. My father had died when I was 18, and from that day forward, I knew I had to take care of myself. Nobody else would. And that's the person that I was before I had this experience. After I came back, my whole world had been blown to pieces. Everything I thought I knew about myself, about life, about the afterlife, about religion, it was all gone. And I was kind of stumbling through life. And so not too long after my near-death experience, I had another experience, a meeting with counsel. There's, at least I have a counsel. I assume we all have a counsel, but it was a council of light beings who kind of called me before them, and I don't remember the experience. I just remember they kind of gave me a kick and said, you came back to life for a purpose, get on with it, So at that point I realized I had to leave the firm.